My problem was, if I called my psychiatrist, they called theirs. I strongly suspected that would mean boardwalk for the lady for the rest of her life. I didn't want that. So what else could I do? I thought there was a defence, and I still think there was a defence. And the defence was that how could the prosecution disprove that there had not been a struggle with the gun, perhaps in the door or ending up in the doorway of the house. Irene had been shot through the thigh. He had received the fatal wound, because it is up to the prosecution to disprove any other possibility than the one they say. The one they said was murder. So could I rely on that? Because if I didn't, I would call my psychiatrist. She would give evidence, the prosecution would call theirs, and the probability would be, I thought, events proved me right, that Irene would go to Bournemouth. So I thought I couldn't risk it. I believed that the prosecution couldn't prove their case, but could I rely on the great old British jury to accept Wheatley's views? They sometimes did, but I have to confess that they didn't always. So I thought I couldn't take such an important issue on chance, and I did call her. The prosecution called theirs. The judge was a judge of the old school. I won't mention his real name, but he was well known to be able to address a jury. And in those days there was only a shorthand note. There was no tape recorder. And he would sum up the defence case as he had to, but he'd do it with a sneer in his voice. He'd say, members of the jury, you have heard on the one hand the evidence of Detective Chief Inspector Blocks, who told you, and if you believe his evidence, then of course that must be true. You've heard the evidence produced by the defence. If you believe that, members of the jury, well, of course, you will quit. If you believe that. And so he wasn't going to be much help to me. And indeed, he summed up, he thought clearly, and I must say, I got some sympathy with it. He thought, here is a woman who is a danger to the public, a danger to the likes of you and me, and she is best in Bournemouth. Hand her over to the doctors. And he summed up for a conviction for murder. The good old British jury didn't quite wear it. I'd addressed them on the basis that it could have been an accident, and that anyway, my doctor had said that there was a mental condition, hysterical aphonia, which would reduce, in the eyes of the law, a verdict of murder to one of only manslaughter, because the necessary intent could not be proved. And the great old British jury came down with a halfway house, and they found her guilty of manslaughter, but insane. And the result was the same, because guilty of crime but insane meant Bournemouth. So the lady Irene Mary Duke was sentenced to Bournemouth. And when I started, when I was at the bar, I indeed became a recorder, but then I got a bid from the city to become chief legal advisor at Lloyd's Bank. And I'm afraid it was quite a good bid, and I took it. So I left the bar and went there. Having left the bar and gone to Lloyd's Bank, and having left Lloyd's Bank and gone back to the bar, what was I to do? So I started writing about old cases. And oddly enough, although at the bar I had gone on from doing crime to doing what was possibly less interesting, but certainly better paid, and that was commercial cases and banking cases, which is why Lloyd's Bank had heard about me and wanted me. But having left Lloyd's Bank, what was I to do? So I scribbled a few short stories, which were based on my criminal experiences at the bar,
been not so well paid, that I personally always found it was by far the most fun. It gives you a chance as an advocate of altering the course of events yourself. And I mustn't tell you too many tricks of the trade, but one that I used to use a little bit was I would find when I was defending, you sit further away from the judge than the chap who's prosecuting. And when he was making his final speech, he'd be standing between you and the judge. And when he got to the 1 or 2 or 3 points that were really very difficult to answer, I would lift up my hand where I was sitting down behind him, take it off, look in my wig, and go, and I would look up, and I would see every eye in the jury fixed intently on Wheatley. They would, and a little bit of whispering, and they would all be saying, Lord, he's got nits in his wig. And they wouldn't be listening to